Hi, my name is Dr. Jim Baggio from Baggio Chiropractic, and today's talk is going to be on inflammation and how it affects your health, especially your nervous system. So before we get started, let me give you a little background as to why this subject is going to be so important. First of all, as a chiropractor, what my specialty is, what my job is to examine the 150-mile network of nerves that you have in your body and find out if there are any type of interferences in the normal functioning of your nervous system. Again, 150-mile network of nerves in the adult body. These nerves are literally the electrical system of your body. It would be the equivalent of building a beautiful home with all of the latest appliances and gadgets and not putting in the electricity. Nothing's going to work. Well, when there is interference with the normal functioning of your nervous system, things are not going to work correctly. Because literally, your nervous system controls every single function in your body. You would be unable to raise your hand, take a breath, digest your food, or your immune system to fight a bug if your nervous system is not working correctly. So again, my job, find those interferences that's interfering with the normal function of that nervous system and reduce and eliminate those interferences so that you can be the healthiest you can be. Now, what causes your nervous system to start to not function correctly is stress. But there are many, many different types of stresses on the human body, okay? Most of these stresses we're totally unaware of. One of these stresses happens to be inflammation, which is again why we're going to be talking about this subject. First of all, what many patients will ask me when they begin care is that remember that symptoms are always the last thing to show up in any case. They're always the first thing to go away. So by the time there's some type of a painful symptom that causes you to come into me, that problem has been brewing for a while. An example would be heart disease. You never feel an artery clogging, but once it progresses and progresses for years, eventually you get a symptom, and by that time we've got trouble on our hands. The same thing with cancer. You could feel fine, there could be cancer developing in your body, but you do not feel this. But when it continues to develop over time and becomes a symptom that you go to a doctor for, now we've got an advanced problem. The same is true here. When you first come into this office for some type of discomfort or pain, more than likely the problem has been brewing for a long time. So as people begin their care here, one of the very most common questions I'll get is what can they do to accelerate the healing? They're looking for, very often you're looking for some type of a magical exercise or something that you can do that can alleviate the pain faster and can accelerate the healing. Keep in mind that because there are many different types of stresses on the human body that accumulate over time and got you into this pickle in the first place, the best thing to do would be able to go around your body and start to unplug some of the stresses that are creating the problem to begin in the first place. Again, remember, the nervous system is an electrical system, the electrical system of your body. This is very similar to the electrical system in a home. Let's say that you start plugging in different electrical appliances. You plug in a blow dryer, you turn it on. You plug in a TV, you turn it on. You plug in a stereo system, you turn it on. Eventually you overload the system, and what happens is the circuit breaker blows. Well, this is very similar to what happens with the human nervous system. We are continually bombarding our bodies with a variety of different types of stresses, plugging things in and turning them on, and eventually something's going to blow. The spine misaligns, creates stress on the nervous system, interfering with the normal nerve function of wherever that nerve goes to, be it the heart, the lungs, the liver. Again, this is not something that we want to have happen. We want 100% nerve supply to everywhere in the body. So instead of going around and trying to give you a simple exercise to do, even though we do address that, what's more important is to find out what are the major stresses on your body that we need to start to change and unplug so that you actually don't blow your fuse as soon as you receive a treatment. All right, now we're getting to inflammation. Inflammation is becoming an increasingly terrible stress on the human body. Inflammation at its root cause is at the root cause of just about every major disease that you don't want to get. I'm talking about cancers, heart disease, Alzheimer's, prostate problems, thyroid problems, all the biggies, autoimmune diseases, MS, lupus. We don't want these things. We wouldn't wish them on anybody, but yet it's inflammation, long-term chronic inflammation in the body that is creating a fertile ground for these diseases to develop in. And it's wreaking havoc upon the normal functioning of your nervous system. Your body is not getting 100% nerve supply because one of the big stresses on the body, inflammation, is creating all of this problem. Let me give you an example, first of all. If you get inflammation that starts to develop in the arterial walls of an artery, over time, that is going to create a latching on point, a sticking on point for circulating fats in the bloodstream, starting to clog an artery. Same thing goes with the brain. If you start getting fatty plaque deposits, which is now being shown to be a very large contributing factor, if not the sole factor involved in Alzheimer's, these fatty plaques start to develop because the inflammation in the brain is creating a sticking on point for circulating fats. Okay. How do we get this inflammation? Because the inflammation I'm talking about here is not like twisting your ankle and your ankle gets swollen and hot and inflamed. First of all, inflammation is not an enemy. It is actually a healing process of the body. When your body is injured, your body uses inflammation by rushing in white blood cells to an injured area to begin the repair process. So inflammation isn't the enemy, but again, I'm not talking about a twisted ankle here. I'm talking about chronic systemic inflammation throughout the entire body, within the arterial walls, within the brain, within the organs, inflammation. How does this happen? How does this happen? It's actually very simple. It's your diet. It's the standard American diet. The high carb, high starch, high sweet, high soda diet of the American people. The only good carbohydrates in your diet are fresh vegetables and fruits. More vegetables than fruits, about a 2-to-1 ratio, more veggies than fruits. All the other carbs are in a descending order of not so good, okay? And those other carbs are the ones that are staples of the American diet. It is the breads, the pastas, the rice, the potatoes, the cereals, the sweets, the sodas, the bakery. All of these are bad carbs. What these carbs do is it causes your blood sugar to rise rapidly. When your blood sugar rises rapidly, your body has to produce a massive amount of insulin to deal with this high blood sugar. High amounts of insulin in the human body are not bad. It leads to the production of all different types of chemical reactions that eventually leads to inflammation. One of them would be the production of microhormones called eicosanoids. There's good ones and bad ones. If you have high levels of insulin because you're eating a high carb diet, which is making your blood sugar go through the roof, you're producing bad eicosanoids, which leads to inflammation throughout the body. Now think about this. Inflammation isn't an enemy, it's how your body heals itself. So if you have inflammation throughout your entire body due to the meals that you are eating, this means that literally every time you eat, you're hurting yourself. No joke. You are injuring yourself with every meal. And day in, day out, year out, the inflammation grows and festers and becomes increasingly worse until eventually you have the breakdown. Now you've got heart disease, you're starting to have memory loss, you're developing a thyroid problem, a prostate cancer, whatever it may be. And at the root cause, chronic inflammation. You need to unplug this stress from your body so that you do not get any of these terrible chronic wasting diseases, and that you can respond properly to your chiropractic care so that your nervous system can function at 100%, keeping you healthy. This is a huge stress to unplug from your body versus simply doing some type of little exercise that can make the pain reduce a little quicker. The inflammation. So what do you need to do? You need to get the breads, the pastas, the rice, the cereals, the potatoes, the sodas, the sweets, the bakery, out of your diet. Out. They have to be gone ASAP. Because every time you put it in your mouth, more inflammation, and you're moving closer to a chronic disease. So you replace those carbs with a healthy Mediterranean style diet, which is heavy on the fresh vegetables and fruits. And here's the key. This is not a tortuous diet. It's a tasty diet. It's good for you. It has a lot of flavor. And you get to put fat back into your diet. That's right, fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. Fat doesn't raise your cholesterol. Fat's good for you. And fat is what actually gives food, it's flavor. And by eating fat back in your diet, you'll actually lose weight because fat not only makes the food taste better, but it also sates the appetite. So you eat less. When you have healthy fats in your diet, you become satisfied when you eat, not full. When your diet is heavy on the carbs, all the bad carbs, you never get satisfied, you simply get full. So, you need to adopt that Mediterranean style diet, which is high on the veggies, high on the fruits. You put healthy fats back in your diet, healthy proteins, and say goodbye to those carbs so your body will quit having to produce so much inflammation to try to heal itself from all the damage you're doing with this diet. All right, let's unplug this stress and be well. Thank you.